People don't do things because they feel like there's just like no reason to, or they feel disconnected or misaligned because they mistaken confidence for a leading indicator. Confidence is a lagging indicator. Confidence is developed by the trust that you have in yourself. My name is Brian Pannuzzo. I'm an executive coach that helps successful professionals get wealthy. I mean, really, really wealthy outside the office, in their mind, their body, and their relationships. I'm an expert at this because I did it myself. I sat inside of corporate America, likely in a seat that you sit in right now, for 20 years. If I can do it, so can you. Welcome back to the show. This is the Success Lift podcast. I appreciate you being back with us again this week. If this is one of your first few times checking me out because someone mentioned that they listened to this podcast, this dude who spent 20 years as a Wall Street guy and is now talking into a microphone, into a camera, and is helping professionals just like you, just like us, I appreciate you being here, and thank you for that. And if you do enjoy this and you find that it resonates with you, I would love for you to return the favor and share it with somebody else. My business, my online presence, my social media, my podcast downloads and subscribers all grow because people find me, they consume what I produce, and they find value in it. And if you find value in it, I would love it if you share it with someone. If this is the only place you listen to me, thank you for that. I appreciate that. I'm also pretty active on my social media channels, Instagram and LinkedIn. You can find me at Brian Pannuzzo. And if you dig the written word, if you dig email, I know you get 100,000 emails a week, but if you dig a short message delivered to your inbox on a daily basis at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can head over to the successlift.com/join, and it'll take you 2 seconds to sign up. This platform, my LinkedIn content, and my email are the places that I put a whole lot of time and effort and thought into what I say, the messages I deliver, and hopefully how I can impact your life. And then I feel like on Instagram, I kind of show you my daily life as much as I can. I feel like I'm pretty authentic. That's a word that gets thrown around a lot over the last couple of years, but I'm a normal guy. I love a lot of the things that you do. I love a good glass of wine, a good drink. I love time with my friends. I love a boozy round of golf. I love a good cigar. I love a great date night with a super high calorie meal with my wife. But I also love all of those things in the context of looking and feeling my absolute best. And at 46 years old, soon to be 47, by the way, I can honestly say I'm in the best shape of my life, maybe outside of a couple of years where I was like an elite athlete, in college, right out of college. But I don't know many people who are continuing to peak at 46, 47 into their late 40s, early 50s. I actually do know some. They work with me. So shout out to all my clients who are getting into the best shape of their lives, taking their relationships to the next level, and developing elite mindsets that are allowing them to break through previous ceilings. We say all the time in my program with a lot of guys who are trying to lose weight, floors become ceilings, right? You hit 220 and you can't break through that floor, and all of a sudden you break through it and you might hover around it for a week or so, and then that becomes a ceiling. Well, it happens in your mindset, in your mental performance as well. You break through these ceilings and then that becomes your floor. And so we are constantly doing that. That's something that I'm always looking to do inside of my life. And so are my clients. And so if you found me recently, thank you for being here. If you've been here for all 230 something episodes, I can't thank you enough. I truly appreciate you. I know a lot of you who pay attention to me. I know you very well. And it means the world to me. So one other ask, because while we're on the topic, it is my show. And I've just been asking you to do things like follow me in various places and subscribe to email lists. We haven't really had many ratings and reviews of the podcast in a while. So I can sit here and pretend that everyone is actively rating and reviewing the podcast, but quite frankly, you haven't done anything for me lately. So if you haven't rated the podcast, please go over to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and give it the appropriate rating. And by appropriate, I mean 5-star. And if you could take another 30 seconds to write a couple of sentences of why I'm the absolute best and a super influential person in your life, that would be amazing too. I'm just kidding. Rate it whatever the hell you think it's worth and write whatever it is you want. It is your right and your privilege in this country. I want to talk this week about some economic stuff, right? Some economic terms and concepts that I know most of you will get. And if you don't worry, it's pretty easy to figure out. There are leading indicators in financial markets, in the economy. There are lagging indicators in those markets. And I want to talk quickly about some of those and how they may relate to you in your life. And so lagging indicators are typically things that follow the performance of the actions that are being taken, the prices that are being assembled, the decisions that are being made by a group of people. And so in financial terms, in our markets, you could think of like, let's think. So the unemployment rate would be a lagging indicator, right? Maybe like the consumer price index or the producer price index would be a lagging indicator. These stats come out and they tell us about historical hires, historical price trends. Okay, what would leading indicators be? That would probably be asset prices, the stock market. How many times do we see the stock market make a pretty significant move up or down before we get confirmation of a particular economic event, like a recession, like a official bull market coming maybe out of a recession, or maybe it's the yield curve, bond prices, bond yields, telling us something about the belief about what's about to happen in the economy. People are able to cast their vote, cast and place their bets via financial markets. And so that is a leading indicator. Housing starts would be a leading indicator. Typically, you would normally not go buy a house if you are really negative on your economic prospects. And so if housing starts go dramatically in one way or another, that is one way, conceivably, that you can take a position on the economy or the perception of what people think is about to happen. Because if I think that I'm about to get smashed financially, I'm not going to go buy $1 million, $2 million plus $5 million, whatever house. I'm going to tighten the ship. I'm going to tighten up my belt a little bit. And so I know that many of you understand these concepts and deal with some of these indicators and this phenomenon on a daily and weekly basis inside of your career. But I wanted to talk about how it is relevant to your life right now, particularly outside the office, because that's the theme of this show most of the time. Most of the people that listen to this, most of the people that I work with, the companies that I work with, they're all doing pretty well inside the office, but they're struggling. They're struggling outside, just like I was 10 years ago when my wife came to me and was like, I don't know about this, man. I'm not so sure about this whole married to you thing that we're doing. I didn't sign up for this. When I looked at my life was pretty darn sweet, especially inside the office, especially on paper. But if you dug in a little bit, inside, peeked inside the curtains, the inside of my house was pretty fucking dirty. All right, I was overweight. I did drugs. I gambled. I consumed alcohol regularly. I couldn't really deal with things mentally without sedating and getting myself distracted and checking out. I didn't spend true quality time with my kids enough. My marriage was just okay. It was fine. Everything in my life was good and fine. Just like us guys like to say, everything's pretty good. How's everything going? Yeah, fine. Everything's fine. Everything's good and fine. It's a bullshit excuse. It's a bullshit response. All right. Start talking about things with more context. Be a little bit more honest with people. Honest with people. And so what are some lagging indicators maybe in your life? Now, here's the rub. The thing is that people mistaken lagging indicators for leading ones. And so they wait for some of these. And so what are some of these in your life? People wait all the time for more motivation. I wish I could just be as motivated as you, Brian. You seem to be so motivated because you get up so early and you're really consistent and you track your food and you do a lot of these things and it's really impressive. And I would do that too, but my life is different. Let me tell you all about how different my life is. And that's when I usually start audibly sighing on the phone or yawning if I'm in direct contact with someone at this point. Not because I don't love you, but because the answer is bullshit. And I've heard it so many damn times now that I know that it's bullshit and I can sniff it out a mile away. You are a very unique individual. Your problems are generic. You're generic. All right? You are a very unique individual. Your problems are generic as fuck. So people wait for motivation to go do the things that they know they need to do. Motivation is not a leading indicator. It's a lagging indicator. Let me explain why. Motivation comes from having a body of evidence to suggest that you are who you say you are, that you do the things that you say you're going to do. And so when you wait for the motivation from the things that you say that you're going to do that you're consistently not doing, you never find consistent motivation. Now you may get disgusted enough on a Monday morning to say this week's going to be different, all the bullshit. We're about to go through the holiday season. Everyone's going to detonate themselves. And then sometime in late December or early January, everyone's going to be disgusted with themselves and they're going to go do it, another way for a period of time. And that'll fade away. And we'll be right back where you are. You'll be right back where you are in another 12 months. And so stop waiting for motivation. It only comes from actually doing the things. Another reason people don't do things because they feel like there's just like no reason to, or they feel disconnected or misaligned, is because they mistaken confidence for a leading indicator. Confidence is a lagging indicator. Confidence is developed by the trust that you have in yourself. If you didn't know me and I said to you, trust me, don't worry, you can trust me, you'd be like, this guy's a sleazeball. He sounds weird. Look at him. Look at the way he sounds. You see that smile he just made? The fuck is wrong with this guy? I'm not trusting this guy. He's going to screw me written all over it. But if I said, you have no reason to trust me if you're new here, what I would ask that you do is just honestly consume some of the information that I put out and have an open mind to it. And maybe listen to a few podcasts and not just this one. And maybe sign up for my email list for a week. And if you think it sucks or if it's annoying, just unsubscribe or text me or call me and I'll take you off the list myself. And if you're already on social media, on LinkedIn or Instagram, and you're already scrolling around like the fucking end of the internet's going to come at any moment, why not check me out? Because some of my content, I think, is pretty good. And so don't trust me, just watch me. And maybe come to your own conclusion after a week or a month or however long it takes you. Right? I tell people all the time, don't listen to what I say, just watch what I do. There's a phrase, I may butcher it because I wasn't even planning on saying it, but it's something like, let your actions speak so loudly that they can't hear your words. How good is that? Especially you have kids. My kids don't listen to me. They don't give a shit about what I say. They can't not watch me though. I'm in their face all the time. In their face. Just ripping out push-ups. See what I'm doing right here? See these push-ups that I'm doing right here, kid? Right? They're like, Dad, stop being a loser. Okay. I'll stop being a loser. So you lack confidence because you don't have a reputation with yourself. You don't have a reputation with yourself because you consistently lie. You say you're going to do things either out loud to other people or to yourself. Talk to yourself all the time, don't you? you know what? I'm gonna get it together. This isn't gonna be one of those weeks again. Talk to me on Thursday. So you lack the confidence with yourself because you are not keeping promises. You don't trust yourself. I know that sounds ridiculous to say, but look at the evidence. If I came every single week and I fucking lied to you, and then I was like on Monday, trust me, you'd be like, get out of my face. And that's what's happening in your subconscious. So you're waiting for more confidence to be able to do some of these things, and you are consistently breaking promises to yourself by hitting snooze, by trying to, by might be, by I should be able to, by I'm gonna see if I can get to the gym, by I'm not gonna drink tonight, by I'm not gonna stay up later and watch this, I'm not gonna get in the pantry tonight, I'm gonna eat cleaner, and you don't. You don't do it with any consistency, certainly not enough to develop confidence, to develop results. Those results produce outcomes. The outcomes end up giving you motivation. You feel good about yourself when you do these things. Motivation is a lagging indicator. Confidence, lagging indicator. What are other lagging indicators? Shame and regret. All the mistakes I made in the past. I have a lot of shame and regret over them. I should rephrase that. I'm actively working to reframe how I feel about them because I realize they've taken on a different meaning. I now know that I couldn't be the person I am today without those decisions, without those mistakes, without those fuck-ups. I used to have shame and regret over those. But if you ask me right now, I will honestly tell you, trust me, that my life is so incredible that I wouldn't trade it for anything. My marriage is so on fire that I wouldn't trade it for anything. I would not have what I have today without the actions and the events of the past. My wife and I wouldn't have the marriage that we have today without going through the turmoil that we've gone through, without going through the pit and the despair. I wouldn't be at this elevated level with her. Now I am not stupid. I realize that we will crash and burn's the wrong phrase, but we will have moments of like, are you kidding me again in our lives? I've known each other for 20 years. I'm going to be with this woman for the rest of my life and into eternity. I'm going to find her in another life. That's how much I'm into her. But we wouldn't have what we have if I didn't have my past, if she didn't have her past, both individually and as a couple. And so in order to have what we have right now, I had to go through those things. So rather than being shameful and regretful over them, I now have a different level of perspective on them. I have a different level of respect and gratitude for them. Were they stupid decisions? Yeah, most of them were stupid. Two things can be true at once. It was dumb as shit, some of them. But fortunately, I made it through the other side of them and now am able to learn from them, take them as experiences and apply them to my life. So shame and regret, lagging indicators, but can be very powerful if you can reframe them. If you can learn to reframe them, I help my clients do this. This is something new because I've been experiencing it. So I take my experiences. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, by the way. I just know I've made a ton of mistakes. And I actively learn from those mistakes. And then I help people apply them to their lives so that they may not make the same. Or if they're in the middle of them, they can time collapse their result to get out of them. And what might have taken me 3, 5, or 10 years, maybe only takes you 3, 5, or 10 months. I don't know. What are some leading indicators? Let's talk about leading indicators. Let's get to the point where we can actually make some progress. What are leading indicators in our lives? My wife loves the concept of the law of attraction. I've shown in the past, I think, Some of my morning formula, it's called. It's on a sheet of paper. I actually have it on my computer. I write it out. I type it out. I record it. I read it into a voice recorder and I record it. These are things that I believe about myself. Some of them are true currently. Some of them are yet to be true, yet to have come to fruition. I even say things like, my life has already been laid out and decided by God. I just have to live it. I haven't heard about it yet. So you have to have some of these future actions already decided for you. I want these things. I'm going to get these things. You have to remind yourself. My wife talks about attraction a lot. And a lot of times I just really get, I mumble. So I mumble the first few letters. Attraction, action. I'm an action. I'm about that action. I'm about that action, boss. I'm an action taker. That is a tangible thing for me. I've always struggled with therapy. And I'm not saying therapy is bad. Please stay in it, go to it, get it, find it, do it. For me, it's always been very airy-fairy. It's always been like helpful in the moment, but I've always walked out of the office going, what the fuck do I do now? I don't know what to do. And I'm an action-based person. And I think there's a beautiful balance you can strike with both. And I think some of the greatest therapists there are, I've found some, balance that. What can you do right now to impact your state, to pattern interrupt? That's what I resonate with. And so I don't think you can manifest anything without going and doing some shit. You ain't gonna take the law of attraction on your couch and manifest some unbelievable wealth, right? You're gonna get up every day for 2 decades and grind it out. That's how you got your wealth. That's how you created your career success. So for me, the law of attraction really has to do with action. It's the combination of a plan of goals applied with action. And so that's the other aspect of this. And this is where motivation ties in. Part of the word motive is in motivation. Motivation comes from motive. If you don't have a why that you're doing it, you're going to sit on the fucking couch. You're going to have another beer. You're going to not go to the gym. You're going to hit snooze. You got to have a motive. That motive has to be attractive, has to be enticing, and has to be sexy as hell. There are some pictures on this document that I pay attention to on a daily basis. You should be on YouTube right now if you want to see what I'm talking about. There are things that I desire on there. Golf courses that I want to play, trips that I want to go on, vacations home, methods of travel. I don't want to sit coach. I don't want to sit first class. I don't want to go through TSA anymore. I still currently have to do all those things. I don't want to rent a home on vacation. I want to go to my own home. I don't want to say I've never been to Bandon Dunes. I've never played Augusta National. You know anybody who can get me onto Augusta? Let me know. So you got to have these destinations in the GPS system in order for you to know where to drive the car, where to fly the plane. Action, desire, leading, almost slipped up there, leading indicators. And so we want to make sure that we're maximizing leading indicators in your life, that you're focused primarily on them. Things like confidence, things like motivation, those are going to come as a result. And if you do have shame and regret, I'm telling you, those can be powerful to harness and use. They should not leave you stuck in the same cycle. Harness them. Figure out what it is that you want. Fall in love with the person you are right now. That's a hard thing to do when you're not where you want to be. Trust me, I'm not even close to where I want to be. But I am falling in love with where I'm at. You can fall in love with a process. I love the fact that I'm doing this. I love the fact that I'm working towards some of these financial goals that I have. Not even fucking close to some of them. Not even close. I just love the fact that I'm working towards it. I love the fact that one day they'll be a reality. The more I focus on it, the more I take action towards it. So harness some of those, what you think are negative thoughts and emotions, and flip them to the positive. I hope this message helped you. It really helps me. This framework of leading and lagging indicators really works for me. They work with a lot of my clients because a lot of them deal with this stuff on a daily basis. This type of stuff resonates because, like I said in the intro, I'm an expert. I sat inside of corporate America. I likely sat in your seat or one very close to it. If I can help you, if what my company does can help you or your organization, you know where to find me. Appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you next week.